Breaking news. ESPN's Field Yates' latest rumor may be the strongest evidence yet that Cleveland crushed this year's draft. If you're the kind of Browns fan who not only follows the team, but lives for every draft day steal, every unexpected revelation, then what I'm about to tell you will make your heart race. But before we go any further, please hit that like button if you've been a Cleveland Browns fan for over 20 years. It's great to see fans of all ages. There are people here who were at the first game. If possible, comment something like, "Let's go, Browns. Let's go to the Super Bowl." Okay, let's get right to it. We're talking about the kind of guys who don't need the spotlight. They create it themselves. With gritty, game-ready talents picked on days 2 and 3. Let's start with a name that's quickly becoming impossible to ignore, Carson Swissinger. The UCLA linebacker entered this draft with very little hype. Selected 33rd overall, Swissinger was greeted with surprise, maybe even skepticism. Some expected a quarterback at that position. But here's the kicker. According to Yates, Swissinger isn't just a good investment, he's the most impactful rookie ever taken outside the first round. Think about it. Of all the picks from the second round onward, it's a Cleveland Brown who tops the list. This isn't just some media puff piece. Swissinger earned this spotlight. He's 6 feet 2 inches, 240 pounds, a tackling machine who led the Big Ten in stops last season. Yes, a UCLA player leading the Big Ten in tackles. A strange but true headline thanks to the Pac-12 shakeup. And he's not just a one-trick pony. He brings quarterback pressure, athleticism, and versatility. And now, he's walking into the Cleveland linebacker room at a moment of real crisis. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is out for the year. A guy who played over 92% of defensive snaps in games he was active for. That's not a hole, that's a crater. And it's Swissinger's job to fill it. Now, the Browns' base defense doesn't use 3 linebackers often. We're talking nickel setups with extra DBs, with only 2 backers on the field most of the time. So when you only use 2, those 2 have to be elite. They can't just do one thing well. They have to tackle, cover, blitz, all of it. Swissinger isn't just being plugged in for depth. He's being plugged into one of the most important roles on this defense. Replacing JK is no joke, and Jim Schwartz knows it. But if early evaluations are any indication, Swissinger has the tools to make it work. And while we're on the subject of instant impact, let's talk about the offensive side of the ball, because the Browns may have landed their next Pro Bowl running back and nobody's making enough noise about it. Field Yates ranked Quinnshawn Jedkins as the number 4 most impactful offensive rookie not taken in the first round. That's elite company. And it's not just lip service. Jedkins is a physical, no-nonsense runner who dominated between the tackles at Ohio State. But if you think that's all he brings to the table, think again. Because his time at Ole Miss proved he could do everything, catch passes, break big runs, and impact the game every single down. The AFC North demands a certain style of football. You don't finesse your way past Pittsburgh in December. You don't win shootouts against Baltimore. You win with toughness, with grit. And Jedkins is exactly that kind of player. He's not built for highlight reels. He's built for trench warfare. And when one scout said, the version of Jedkins from Ole Miss is the guy you're going to get, that should make every Browns fan excited, because that version was an all-purpose monster. Look at the numbers. At Ohio State, even in a split role, Jedkins averaged nearly a full yard more per carry than he did in his final season at Ole Mississippi. He added touchdowns. He showed he could thrive even when sharing the backfield with another NFL-caliber back. If you put his 2024 numbers in a 2022 season without that split, we're talking about a potential first-rounder. That's how high his ceiling is. And if you're wondering whether the offensive line can support a breakout campaign, the Browns are already planting seeds. With Kevin Jenkins and Zach Zinter added to bolster the interior and a clear eye on tackle upgrades in the near future, the runway is clear for Jedkins to take off. This isn't just hype. It's real production potential, and there's every reason to believe that by year 2, we could be talking about him in the Pro Bowl. That's just the tip of the iceberg for Cleveland's 2024 rookie class. And it all happened outside the first round. No red carpets, no glitzy headlines, just pure football value. But now I want to hear from you. Who do you think will be the Browns' biggest rookie impact player this season? Is it Swissinger stepping into JK's massive shoes? Or Jedkins grinding his way into AFC North glory? Drop a comment and let's talk about it. Your take might be the one that sparks the next big Browns conversation. And if you're still with me, good. Because the deeper we dig into this 2024 Browns rookie class, the clearer it becomes. This could be a foundational group. We're talking about more than just guys who fill roster spots. We're talking about players who could redefine what it means to wear the orange and brown. Let's keep going with Carson Swissinger. One thing that stands out in his story, and it's something every Browns fan should pay attention to, is how overlooked he was going into the draft. There was barely any buzz connecting Cleveland to a linebacker with their top pick. Most assumed a quarterback would be the obvious choice at 33. And yet, when the Browns were on the clock, they made a move that surprised everyone, but one that's starting to look like a masterstroke. Swissinger wasn't just a statistical beast in college. He was the soul of that UCLA defense. And Jim Schwartz isn't just plugging him in out of necessity. This is about fit. This is about building a defense that doesn't just react, but dictates. Think about the DNA of this Browns defense. Aggressive, physical, fast. Swissinger brings all of that. And more importantly, he brings it without needing to be the loudest voice in the room. That's a trait you want in your linebacker. Confidence without ego. Execution over hype. But what makes this linebacker story even more important is the role of injuries in shaping this defense. Losing Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is a gut punch. You don't replace that kind of versatility easily, but Swissinger gives this team a shot at not just covering that loss, but building something new. If he hits his stride early, and if Jordan Hicks stays healthy and consistent, we could be looking at a linebacker duo that stabilizes this defense in 2025 and beyond. Now let's circle back to Quinnshawn Jedkins, because the more you look at the AFC North, the more it becomes obvious he was built for this division. This isn't a finesse league. Not here. Here, backs need to take hits, deliver them, and keep moving. That's Jedkins. He's a straight line punisher with just enough lateral juice to keep defenders honest. And unlike some physical runners, he's already shown he can catch passes out of the backfield. That's crucial in a Stefanski offense that values versatility. But here's the kicker. While his raw stats at Ohio State look modest on paper, they're misleading. Why? Because he was sharing the field with another NFL talent. That workload split kept his touches down but efficiency up. He was fresh, explosive. He didn't need 25 carries a game to change the outcome. And now in Cleveland, with Nick Chubb still working his way back and no clear bell cow on the roster, Jedkins has a chance to do something special right away. You add that to the fact that Field Yates, not exactly known for throwing praise around casually, ranked him as the fourth most impactful offensive player taken outside the first round, and you've got something real here. You've got a back that could change the pace, change the tempo, and become the heartbeat of the offense. It's also worth pointing out that these picks, Swissinger and Jedkins, both represent a strategic shift in the Browns' draft approach. No more overreaching. No more picking for need without value. These are football players. Period. They produce. They hit. They work. And maybe that's why this draft feels different. It feels like the front office, from Andrew Berry down, finally aligned every part of the decision-making process to maximize not just talent, but fit. What if I told you the most intriguing storyline of the Browns' 2025 season isn't Deshaun Watson's rehab, or the defense under Jim Schwartz, or even the playoff hopes in a stacked AFC North? What if it's a fifth-round rookie quarterback who wasn't even the first QB Cleveland drafted, and yet might end up as the face of the franchise by the end of the year? Shedeur Sanders. A name that doesn't just draw attention, it demands it. He's not your average late-round pick. And Browns fans, this might be the most captivating rookie situation the team has had in years. Selected 144th overall out of Colorado, the son of NFL Hall of Famer Deion Sanders fell much farther than expected. Many analysts had him pegged as a first-rounder. Some teams even saw him as the most pro-ready passer in the class. But when the dust settled on the draft, it was the Browns who scooped him up, after already taking Oregon's Dillon Gabriel. And that's where things start getting interesting. This wasn't a team desperate to reach for a quarterback. They already had Deshaun Watson. They had just traded for Kenny Pickett. They re-signed 2023 playoff savior Joe Flacco. Then they drafted Gabriel. And after all of that, then they grabbed Sanders. No other franchise stacked the QB room like this. 5 quarterbacks on the roster heading into training camp. And yet, despite being the last added to the group, Shedeur might just be the most intriguing option of them all. Let's be real, Deshaun Watson is likely out for the season. That much is clear. The moment he was moved to the PUP list, all signs pointed to a long road back.